all you cinema buffs out there. Dennis and Nate bringing you our review of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Now, this is a really big movie for us. I've been really anticipating this one because we loved the first one so much. You can agree you loved the first one.
Oh, totally, yeah. And this one, you know, kicking off the summer movie season, first weekend in May. Gotta get excited.
Yeah, exactly. So let's just dive right in. I mean, what did you think?
Walked into this movie with relatively mediocre expectations, to be honest with you, because I try not to expect too much out of a sequel, especially with a movie like Guardians of the Galaxy. When the first one came out, it was like this big surprise hit.
Definitely.
It was unlike any Marvel movie we got before.
Yep.
And so I didn't think that they were going to be able to recapture that feeling, but I was completely wrong. I think that this was just another fun adventure, just like the first one. I mean, between the soundtrack, you know, the characters, the performances, the comedy is what separates this movie from all the other Marvel movies and why I love it even more.
I completely agree. This, like you said, my expectations were pretty high for this, but this movie, in my opinion, delivered everything I really wanted out of this. Now, is it a perfect movie? No, I do not think it is. I don't think it's... I think it lives up to the first one. I do not think it's better than the first one, personally.
I don't think it's better, but I will say it's just as good.
It is funnier, I think.
It's funnier. And it's more emotional. I mean, you get some deep cuts with these characters. Like, you kind of get some background, and you do get emotional moments with the characters in the first movie. But this one dives deeper, and it explores the family dynamic. I think that the thing I love most about the first Guardians of the Galaxy was that they established all these characters in the first act, whereas with the other Marvel movies, it takes one movie for every character to establish them.
Yeah.
And so, not only do I think with the first movie, they did that faster, and I think with this, they did it faster than the Avengers movies. They're like really making feeling like these people are a team and they're a family.
Guardians, the first one, really expertly got all these characters and for you to care individually about each one of them. Suicide Squad couldn't do it, but Guardians of the Galaxy achieved it, where these characters are pretty unknown and you love every one of them for their own personal reasons. And it does. It explores it a lot more with this one. But into the issues that I have with it, I thought it wasn't as paced swiftly as it was for the first one.
No, and the action is a little bit sparse compared to the first one. I felt like every time the story was starting to get going and the movie would slow a little bit, they had an action sequence in the first one. Yeah. And with this, there was just a little bit more of a drag. Like, there was just that moment where I was thinking, like, it's been a while since anything like really happened action-wise. But it wasn't until shortly after that they did another action sequence. But yeah, I will say, I agree with you. It's not as crisply paced as the first one.
They could have just shaved a little bit off here and there, I think. That's about it. But really, with James Gunn writing, he just really writes great plots out of certain circumstances. Just one thing goes wrong, and that snowballs throughout the movie, and it all just makes sense. It's such good, coherent storytelling, but it's such personal storytelling that it lets the characters shine. It lets their personalities come through, and we do get to see more of Rocket and more of Star-Lord and more of all of them while introducing new characters that you also care about somehow. It's kind of a big achievement for Marvel.
Great cause and effect. One event leads to the other, and it's just a straight line story, and I think that that's part of the reason why I like these movies and kind of hold them above the other Marvel movies, is that they're straight line and there's no like big connections. I get it, they're building this universe with the other Marvel movies, and the Guardians will be in the Infinity Wars.
Right.
So I know that they'll eventually fold into the bigger universe, but I just like that this is separate and it's its own story. It's not trying to stuff it with too many subplots that'll play out in later movies or anything like that.
A few things I didn't really like about it. I'm not going to get into any spoilers or anything, but there is a certain discovery that it leads up to that I thought took way too long. I was like, you're leaving us hanging for way too long. I felt like the relationship with the sisters was a little bit too much.
I disagree. I think that each character, they had their own moment to shine and had their own subplot. And yeah, sometimes it did get a little too far, but I like the bond between the sisters and just telling that whole story. And
yeah, I mean, I didn't mind the bond between the sisters. I just thought that they spent a lot of time on there, which I would have wanted more Star-Lord or a little more Rocket.
I think that this movie, while very emotional, you know, every character kind of goes through a real deep emotional moment.
Yeah.
James Gunn is great at punctuating those emotional moments with comedy. Just like when you think it's getting a little too sappy, a little too heartfelt, boom, a joke comes in and saves it.
They get away with funny moments mixed with heart that most movies couldn't even come close to doing.
Oh, you can only dream of.
Yeah, there's just like epic, crucial plot moments that are just like, boom, here's a joke. And it's perfect. It never felt out of place. It always felt in the personality and in the world of Guardians of the Galaxy, because like I said, this movie was just funnier than the first one. I just laughed way more than the first one.
And I laughed harder than I did at the first one, too. And I'll warn all you parents of small children out there, whatever birthdays, Christmas coming up, Baby Groot. Just get Baby Groot.
It's taking over the holidays.
Oh yeah, totally. And I could see why. I was watching the movie. I'm like, man, I wish Groots were real. I wish I had a little baby Groot to hang out with
adorable. He's so charming. But what's also pretty awesome about this movie and the first one is it's really hard to choose a favorite character. Like in the first one, Star-Lord. I was like, Star-Lord's my favorite out of all. In this one, Drax. Drax steals the show in every scene. I love Drax. I think that since you already know that he takes everything so damn literally, it's funny every single time. He's not trying to be funny.
No.
He's just being himself.
I'm a huge Kurt Russell fan. I mean, growing up, me and my dad would watch all, like, you know, Big Trouble in Little China, Escape from New York, watch all the great Kurt Russell movies.
Yeah.
So when he got cast in this movie, in the role that he's cast, and we won't spoil anything, I thought it was just the perfect fit, and it plays so well on screen. There's great chemistry between he and Chris Pratt. You know, you believe the bond between them.
Yeah.
And I just think that even when he makes a turn in the story, his character, it's still believable. It's because Kurt Russell's just great, and he's great in this role, and he lets his personality shine through. Even like when they do flashbacks and oh my god, this retro aging that they're doing now, it's incredible.
It gets better and better.
It does. Like it looks like Kurt Russell was 30 years old when they shot that scene.
It really does, and it was so bizarre when that you see young Kurt Russell. And you know, with Tron, when they first sort of tried with Jeff Bridges, I was like, uh-oh, like not very good. But with this, like, she's like kissing him on his cheek and everything. Like, it's pure interaction with two people, and it is totally believable, in my opinion. Like you said, Kurt Russell really can't do any wrong. I really enjoy it. He has so much charisma, and yeah, it was believable, and the bond between him and Chris Pratt, I mean, it just felt natural.
Yeah, and it gave you stakes to the story, and you invested in these characters, and that's what is the biggest thing that I love about these Guardians of the Galaxy movies. You invest in every character because, like you said, it's hard to pick your favorite because you love all of them.
Yeah, and all the choices matter.
Buff.
All right, so there's our thoughts on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Dennis, put a score on it.
Like I said, you know, I walked into this, you know, middle expectations. I didn't expect it to be as good as the first one or to really live up to the first one. But I think it's just as good as the first one, and I think it does live up to it. So, gave the first one a 9, and that's where I'm going with this one, 9 out of 10.
Dang, 9 out of 10, all right. Well, I really enjoy Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. It keeps the same charisma, it keeps the same awesome characters, development. Just the pacing was a little off for me. There was some moments where it was a little bit of a lull, and I felt like they could have shaved it off. Also, the soundtrack was great. Not quite as good as the first one, but it was great. I mean, they left a few songs. You know, they used so many great songs in the first one, but all in all, I really enjoyed this movie. I'm just gonna go a little bit under with an 8.5 out of 10. I still really loved Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Yeah, it's great. Go check it out, guys.
Definitely.
Buff.
All right, so that's it for our review of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. What'd you guys think? Why don't you go ahead and leave a comment below. If you like this review, check out the reviews we got down below and click that subscribe button to see every review.
That's right, and next week we'll be bringing you our review of King Arthur, Legend of the Sword. So we'll bring you that next week, but don't forget,
there's no place like the theater.